Hello and welcome to Eternal Durdles. I'm Zach Clark. And let's talk today about Blue-Red or Izzet Delver. Izzet Delver is quickly becoming one of the, and has been for a while, one of the most played decks in the format. Knowing how to play it and play against it is really going to help your win percentage at these larger tournaments. So let's talk about the cards that make this deck. Obviously, Expressive Iteration, Lightning Bolt, Dragon's Rage Chandler, Delver of Secrets, of course, are the key cards in this deck. Being able to play cards like Chain Lightning and Lightning Bolt are huge. You generally don't play the more reactive spells that Rug Delver plays, like Stifle. So one of the main things you want to be doing if you're playing a Blue-Red Delver deck is you're looking at your threat base. And you generally want to have 12-ish creatures. You're going to be playing Dragon's Rage Chandler and Delver of Secrets. Murktide Regent is a great choice. And then maybe you mess around with those numbers a bit, and you can even diversify by throwing in something a little bit different like Brazen Borrower or Vendilion Click. Not a lot of people play Vendilion Click nowadays, but Brazen Borrower does get played, and it's got a lot of utility. So, of course, you're playing the normal cantrip suite of 4 Brainstorm and 4 Ponder. You might be, and you're playing Expressive Iteration as well. Probably 4 of those. You can play 3 if you like. The reason why this deck is so well positioned now is because you have this powerhouse of a card. And generally what you want to do is wait till about turn 3, cast Expressive Iteration, net a land, or net 2 spells that you want to cast. So you can exile a Lightning Bolt, put a Chain Lightning in your hand, and play your, put the other card under the deck. So being able to be like, okay, for 2 mana, I'm going to put a Lightning Bolt in my hand, I'll Chain Lightning your guy or you, and then keep attacking with my Delver of Secrets or Dragon's Rage Chandler. So this deck is very aggressive. And like I said, it's a lot less reactive than the other Delver decks. So the idea here is in your opener, you're going to want to make sure that you have a turn 1 play. You need to have a Dragon's Rage Chandler or a Delver of Secrets in your opener. Those are the 2 cards you need to make sure that you're getting in early. Dragon's Rage Chandler is great in the like next couple of turns. But of course, Delver of Secrets is really where you want to be initially. In your opening hands, you're going to be looking for your 1-drop, at least 1 or 2 lands, and then 1 or 2 draw spells like Expressive Iteration, Brainstorm, or Ponder. Then some form of interaction in the form of Daze or Force of Will, and of course, you're going to want to play. You're going to want to have a Lightning Bolt, something you can interact the board with as well. So, your deck is almost all flying creatures. In fact, it's all flying creatures right now, assuming that you can get Dragon's Rage Chandler online, which should not be hard to do. You're playing Mishra's Baubles. So, now, let's talk about the mid-game. In the mid-game, you're looking to have your opponent down to, by turn 3-4, down to around 10 life. If you can get lucky. 3 is pretty early to have your opponent at 10 life, but by turn 4 you want your opponent at about 10 life. That means that they have probably spent 1 or 2 cards trying to get rid of one of your threats. Maybe one of your threats is gone now. And what you need to do is follow that up with a card like Murktide Regent or cast Brazen Borrower as a 3/1. Now that you've got a Murktide Regent in play, probably at like a 5/5 or a 6/6. This is going to be very hard for most decks to remove because most removal right now in the format is damage-based removal. So if you can get it just above that 4 butt or best case scenario 7 butt, but that's tough because of cards like Unholy Heat, you're going to have a lot better chance of closing the door on your opponent. Obviously, a 7/7 Murktide Regent is pretty good. And if you can cast another Murktide Regent and make it even bigger, amazing. But, so the mid-game is all about playing your second creature and closing that door. You're playing a Protect the Queen strategy, so the main thing that you want to make sure of is that you don't slow down your tempo. Tempo is about getting out something, keeping your momentum going while your opponent struggles to keep up with you. That's a little bit harder for this deck in the mid game because there are so many things that your opponent gets that they don't get in, say, like a Rug Delver deck, where you're giving them access to their lands. You're generally not playing the full suite of Wastelands and Stifles. You might play cards like Misdirection and stuff like that out of the board, or Divert. But at the end of the day, you really have to worry about the fact that your opponent can 1-for-1 you for the most part. And if they are a deck that is playing Snapcaster Mage, and they're getting to the point where they have more of the same amount of mana as you, they can really start to close that gap that you've created at the very beginning of the game. Now, the main things you want to be doing to shut the door in this deck are obviously attacking with your Fatty, but using Expressive Iteration to spell your opponent on turns is really important. Being able to brainstorm and shuffle away the bad cards that you don't need, like extra lands or interaction that just doesn't line up right now, is huge. And you might play like a main deck Pyroblast that can stop one of their blockers. Maybe they have a Murktide Regent that's bigger than yours, and you can do that to get rid of the Murktide Regent. Brazen Borrower, again, is great in this closing the door strategy, because then you can bounce your opponent's blocker, get in for that last hit, maybe bolt, bolt or chain lightning them. So the idea here is that, like I said, this is a protect the queen strategy, and you want to make sure that you're getting in for those final hits and maybe doing direct damage at the very end. So you're going to be playing cards like Abrade, Force of Negation, Meltdown. All are great ways to stop your opponent from doing from doing unfair stuff in the form of Chalice of the Void or playing Storm. You're going to want to play some amount of graveyard interaction with Surgical Extraction, with Grafdigger's Cage, and then you're going to want to have 2 to 4 Red Elemental Blasts in your sideboard. 4 is the high end. You're probably in the 3 area. Red Elemental Blast is in like Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast, some combination of those. Another really great card to try out, which is really great in that like closing the door strategy, is Submerge. Submerge can be a total, like, it's so good against a deck that plays Force, and also it's really good against decks that play something like Yavimaya, Cradle of Civilization or whatever. I forget the name of the card. Anyhow, the card that makes all lands Force. Now your Submerges are live, and if they're playing something like Merit Lage, you just put that Merit Lage on top of their deck. Oh, look at that! The Merit Lage is gone forever. You can also stop decks like that with Wasteland. You just have to time it properly. So once they target the Dark Depths with their Thespian Stage, you're going to Wasteland the Dark Depths so the Thespian Stage doesn't work, and then the Dark Depths dies. So they won't be able to target the Thespian Stage, the Dark Depths with the Thespian Stage. So stuff like that is good. Basically, the idea of this deck is it's an aggro deck that has counterspells in it. So you want to be making sure that your early plays are super impactful, and you're getting through with your threats. You're going to be wanting to use your lightning bolts to remove other flying blockers. And basically the idea here is it's a protect the queen strategy, like I said before. So this is a deck that can do really well in the tournament scene. It can do really well at your weekly. Good luck. Hey, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out this other video, and if you can, please support us on patreon.com.